Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you all for being here on this great day when there's actually perfect beer garden weather and you're all in here. My name is Philip. I'm the coach of the iHaus team. And before we start, I want to introduce the team to you quickly. First of all, our two customers are Ralf and Hamza, who we want to thank, first of all, for giving us the chance to work on the project as well as being here today. Second of all, our project lead is Dominik, and our team consists out of 5 great developers, namely Benedikt, Michael, Christian, Lukas, and Jetse. So without further ado, I will hand over to Benedikt for the real presentation.
Thank you. Elderly people usually don't feel safe at home. We want to change that. We were guided by 3 visions. The first is the fall detection. So whenever an old person falls to the ground, we can detect this and send help to the location. The current system is a physical button which they can press to request help. We want to replace that with an app on the phone and the smartwatch. The third vision is that we want to observe the patient's daily behavior with sensors to identify situations in case they need help. On the patient side, we have 3 components: a smartwatch, an app, and the sensors in the home. They are all connected to our emergency manager on the iHaus side. This service is extended with 2 more services: the anomaly detection, which we will explain later in more depth, and the web view. The web view is a tool which is used by the call center agents from the Red Cross. Let's see how all these components connect in our live demo.
Thank you, Benedikt. Thank you. Let me introduce one of our patients, Mr. Graf. He's around 70 years old this year. And let's go with him and go to his house. His daughter is now working in Berlin and bought him our iHaus system at the beginning of this year. Our technician has already installed all the sensors in his house and also installed the iHaus app on his phone. Now in the device list, he can see all the sensors in his house, including his Apple Watch. And talk about the smartwatch. This is actually the first time Mr. Graf wearing a smartwatch. He's very curious about it. He wants to try the emergency button on the watch. Oh, it works. Let's just cancel this emergency request and go back to the iHaus app on iPhone. On the home screen, you can see there's a big button, emergency button, and after you press this button, there will be a countdown. And actually, during the countdown, you can still cancel this emergency request. However, our Mr. Graf is so curious and he wants to try this function. Our emergency center just received his request.
Who are you, young boy?
Hello, Mr. Graf. This is the emergency center. Are you all right?
I sure am. I just wanted to try this new app my daughter got me.
Okay, everything seems to be working fine. I'm always here for you. So have a nice day.
Thank you very much, son.
After the video call, Mr. Graf feels much more safer.
I do feel a lot safer now. Really, really a lot safer.
Oh, what happened? Are you okay, Mr. Graf? But don't worry, our system is also prepared for the fall detection. The software on the smartwatch is equipped with a fall detection algorithm. Or maybe because this fall is too fake. But don't worry. Luckily, our Mr. Graf is a 24-year-old by heart, and he's fine.
What are you looking at? I'm not good at fake falling.
As we just showed, our system can handle various emergency cases, which happen suddenly and unpredictably. We call this short-term detection. But actually, we implemented more than this, far more than this. Let's go back to Benedikt.
Our system has improved quite a lot since the design review. We installed a bunch of sensors collecting data on temperature, door openings, and humidity and light. We collect all this data on our server. Usually we have a daily routine and this reflects on our data. But sometimes we change in our behavior and we can see this in our data. We use machine learning to rate every point in time and to detect outliers. Depending on the rating, we send questions to the patient's app to get more information on the situation. If it's a severe case, we automatically create an emergency. We also use a rule-based system for known issues, for example, when the fridge hasn't been opened for a day. So let's see, this was the theory, how this works in practice.
Thank you, Benedict. Thank you. For the anomaly detection, let's first take a look at the daily routine of our Mr. Graf. Every day, around 8 a.m., he wakes up. Usually, he goes to the kitchen, open the fridge, drink some milk, and then cook the breakfast. If the question popped up in our app, he will answer it, and all these questions are generated by the machine learning results based on all the sensors data. Now let's get on the time machine and go fast forward through the entire week of Mr. Graf. As he's using our app and living in his home, our sensor collects the data, analyze it, and our iHaus system learn his habits and know him better and better. Until one day, there was a real emergency detected. He didn't wake up as usual, and he didn't, as it's different to his daily pattern, he didn't go to the kitchen. His heart rate was slower than usual. Our iHaus system determined that this was an emergency case and sent immediately the emergency request to our emergency center. Look.
Apparently, Mr. Graf didn't eat today. I better give him a call. There should be sound. He's not answering. I better just send some help.
Mr. Graf, are you here? Are you okay? The door is locked. Central, can you unlock it?
Yeah, sure. Just give me a second. It should be opening right now.
Come on. There was a sound.
Maybe the door is broken. Kick it in.
It's opening. Mr. Graf, there was an emergency. Are you okay?
I sure am. Thank you, young boy. Thank you.
Our medic team arrived at Mr. Graf's house in time and saved him, thanks to the iHaus system. Also, thank you, my team. Let's give back the stage to our presentation.
So we spent quite some time working on this. And we also ran into a couple of issues. First of all, we were the first team using the Apple Watch with the new Bamboo build system. So we had some trouble signing our apps, which luckily the LS1 team could resolve for us. Secondly, we wanted to use the Apple Watch for fall detection. Unfortunately, the watchOS just isn't there yet. So we integrated Lola by Colware, whom we'd like to thank at this point. And lastly, we had some trouble getting our anomaly detection working. We didn't have any data, so we had to collect it ourselves, yielding unlabeled and unstructured data, which is hard to actually train a machine learning model on. So in the future, we need more and better data. But after 12 weeks of working on this, it's actually nice to see how far we got and to tick off a list. To do so, let's have a look at our requirements. We achieved to collect sensor data, so we can detect whether a window is open or somebody is leaving or entering a room. The sensors providing us this data have a health check, so we can detect broken sensors as well. In case of an emergency, the Red Cross can open a door. As you may have noticed in the background, it was actually opening the door afterwards. And as for the anomaly detection, we didn't have that much data, so it's still room for improvement there. Our system is extensible to new sensors, so it's tightly integrated to the iHaus ecosystem, but it's also open to new kind of sensors. Setting up a sensor is easy as well. Once you have a new sensor, you just add it, and it also automatically shows up in your system. And we have a rather elderly-friendly user experience. We didn't test it with our target group yet, but it's so it's still work in progress. But we didn't stop there. Our system is meant to be one of the first steps for iHaus into the emergency care sector. So our system is now up to 94% test covered by tests. Looking into the future, what's next for this project? One thing we thought about was integrating voice assistants. Especially in the case of an emergency, you might not be able to properly operate your smartphone or smartwatch. So shouting for help is sometimes your best option. But other than that, it's pretty much done. And it's up to iHaus to actually integrate it and get it out to customers. So we'd like to thank Ralf and Hamza for this awesome project, and we'd be delighted to get a statement from you.
We would like to thank you as well. I also like so much the demo. I could not recognize you. I was like, who is this guy in the new team or what? But yeah, pretty good. Well done.
Okay. Thank you.